always just wanted to say that.
Turn my mic up. Can you turn it down in the headphones just a bit? Turn it up in the headphones.
I'll also leave this part in the track.
Leave this part in the track.
I want this to be the first 5 seconds of every song.
Your whole album is just, I want this to be the first 5 seconds of every song is the first 5 seconds of every song. Yeah. That would be sick.
When I was studying abroad, I saw a poster for a guy named DJ Seinfeld.
Ooh.
And I was like, I got to see this guy. It's like, what's the deal with my headphones? Turn them up. Turn them down.
Welcome to That's Good Sports Podcast. That is Will Keys reminiscing about the time he saw DJ Seinfeld. I'm Brandon Perna. You can follow Will Keys on Twitter at WillKeys6. This is the That's Good Sports Podcast where we talk about football for an hour and some change. Half of it, Denver Broncos news, and the other half of it, NFL news and game picks. Quite a bit to talk about today. We'll ask the important question in relation to the Broncos. What the fuck happened in San Francisco? The wavering back and forth on to fire or not to fire Vance Joseph. Chubb chasing that sack record. Vikings fire their OC John DeFilippo. The Raiders, Oakland suing the Raiders and the NFL, and Brandon Marshall cut by the Saints. And then, of course, we'll pick every game. So, it's week 15. Shit is happening. Surprisingly, I think the thing that shocked me this week, Will, is the amount of teams that still have a mathematical chance of getting into the playoffs, which include the Falcons at 4-9, the Lions at 5-8. I think the Bengals still, and the Browns even. So, I don't know. I guess that makes the games a little more interesting this week, but I don't know if we can top last weekend where I felt like every game had some sort of playoff implication except for the Jets and the Bills.
Yeah, well, guess what, listeners? If you thought math was for nerds, try figuring out who is the tiebreaker if Cleveland wins their next 3 games and Pittsburgh loses their next 3 games. Who's the sixth? Who's got the wild card spot? Yeah. So, turns out Algebra 2 was actually very worthwhile and not a waste of time.
Although, if you want to host your own shitty podcast, you don't need to know that sort of algebra.
Nope, absolutely not.
Because Will teased you there, and we are not going to give you the answer to that math equation.
Oh, do you think I know? I sure don't.
No. I mean, the Steelers and the Ravens would both have to lose out, right, for the Browns to get in? Or the Ravens could win one, and the Browns –
No, well, someone's got to win the AFC North.
Right. Well,
Believe it or not.
The Browns can get in and still by – oh, man. A lot of things have to happen.
Exactly.
I'm not going to give you the answer. Will be in Colorado, what, tomorrow?
Yeah, flying there tomorrow morning.
What time do you leave?
I want to say 9:30.
Okay. So you have to do writing tonight for that 6 episode.
I sure do.
Pressure is on, Will.
Dunna. Up against the wall.
Will and I are trying to meet for a drink on Friday. We got to figure out when and where. Will thought he was going to be in Parker, which is close to me-ish, but he's not. He's going to be in Colorado Springs, which is an hour away. So we got to find somewhere in the middle. Maybe Castle Rock. Right. Will, we might be in the hot town of Castle Rock.
If you keep airing this out, people are going to come find us. And that's okay.
Find us in Castle Rock. I will leave clues on Twitter all evening.
If you can actually find us, I was going to say, if you can actually find us, more power to you.
Yeah, you have to buy our drink, so if you do find us.
Finder's fee.
We will be 2 of 50 white bearded men drinking at a bar in Castle Rock.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I could shave before then.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Ooh, shave. Shave is on the line, huh?
But I'll never not be white, so.
No, that's true.
That's just
That's very true.
Very permanent.
And then the Browns game is happening Saturday night, which we will be at live, and I will be at a holiday party trying to probably watch on TV to TV, which really just pisses me off. I hate the Saturday games in December. I really do.
Oh, it's always very convenient. Yeah, this is going to be the very disappointing back leg of a doubleheader Broncos games for me. I was at the 49ers game in Santa Clara last week. That was kind of a spur of the moment thing because I live very close. And,
what did it feel like live watching that game?
It felt like all of my hopes and dreams being torn away all at once. It felt like just watching a very slow train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, basically, whenever you can be down by 20 points in the middle of the third quarter to a team that's 2-10, not a good feeling ever.
Yeah.
But
a little okay, yeah.
Can't recommend it.
A little bit of 2017, I felt crept right back up into the Broncos game plan.
And all that being said, they had multiple chances to win the game in the fourth quarter, and they refused to do any such thing.
Yeah, I mean, they had – well, that's the thing about the NFL. You look at any game and you see opportunities for teams to win, right? Like when I was looking at the Chiefs-Ravens game, before Kansas City, I believe, kicked their game-winning kick, what would be their game-winning kick in overtime, Patrick Mahomes fumbled the ball. He just fumbled. He just fell out of his hand, and luckily his offensive lineman was on top of it, ran and picked it up. The Ravens were, that close to winning that game on a huge Mahomes mistake. The Eagles in the Cowboys game last weekend, the referees screwed the Eagles out of a fumble, right? Is that what it was? A fumble that they gave to the Cowboys or some shit.
That's what I heard.
It's like that in every game, and it just sucks because we pay so much attention to the Broncos, and you see it happen. It's happened in all of their losses this year, but in their wins too. In their wins, it's been the other team who didn't capitalize on the mistakes. So I was surprised that they lost to the 49ers because I honestly thought they were going to lose to the Browns this week. And crush our spirits.
I thought it was going to be the Raiders game. I thought they'd wait until Christmas Eve on Monday Night Football to lay the proverbial egg in front of everybody.
Right.
Just because that feels like the most crushing way to do it because, you get through the 49ers and the Browns and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've got a winning record by then. And to do it to a terrible, terrible Raiders team that actually found a way to beat the Steelers on Sunday on a holiday, no less, would be the most humiliating fashion possible, I think.
Yeah, that would be – I mean, that would have been the way to do it.
I think it's the last time that the Raiders are going to play in the Coliseum. So,
that is up in the air. Even more so now that the city of Oakland is suing the Raiders and the NFL, saying that the move to Las Vegas is illegal, which I don't think the city's going to win that argument. But I want to work on a joke for this in the episode, Will, but to me, seeing a bunch of Raiders fans all in their Raider gear just in a
I see where this is going.
In the court of law with suing, I started to write something there, so we got to think of something funny
it's like when Boltman went to all those city hall meetings dressed as Boltman in San Diego.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to send you the picture.
Oh shit!
Awesome. I would love I'd love the Violator to show up in his full spiked shoulder pads.
It's
in front of a judge.
It's like fucking Mad Max meets Law and Order or something. You know what I mean?
Also, what a wild name, the Violator.
The Violator.
Sounds like a lot of the people that go to Raiders games. But yeah, to break down the game, obviously we're a few days out, but the one thing that I think stuck out to everybody, regardless of where you watch the game, is the 49ers knew that they only had to stop two people on the Broncos offense, and it was Cortland Sutton and Philip Lindsay, and they did that very well.
Yeah.
The Broncos had two guys to stop. They had George Kittle to stop, which they decided not to do, let him rack up 210 yards in the first half.
Did you hear Vance Joseph trying to defend that this week?
No, what did he say?
He was like,
Lord.
okay, guys, I mean, that's not like a good impression of him, but I got to do it in a little bit different of a voice.
You just have to sound like Keith David.
Like, yeah, I can't do it.
Yeah,
but he's like, okay, guys, it was 3 catches for 210 yards. It's not like we gave up 20 catches to him. It was 3 blown catch. Like, he was trying to defend it. It's like,
here's the thing. One of them went for 85 yards. Another one went for like 50.
Yeah, they fucked you up. Those 3 catches fucked you up.
Yeah.
Your defense, and like what he should have said was, look, we had young guys back in the secondary who made some mistakes in those situations, or we didn't have the right defense called. They exploited it. There's no excuse for that. But trying to like justify that just because it was 3 catches for 210 yards doesn't make it any better at all. It's like saying like, oh, yeah, Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns against us, but it's only for 160 yards.
Yeah, well, he's thrown 6 before. It's like literally, I think, yeah, you could have just been like, oh, Shannon Sharp had more yards that one time.
He did, and Shannon Sharp was talking about it.
The only one.
If I was George Kittle, I'd been screaming to get one more catch in that game.
Yeah, really.
But the Broncos protected that record. Maybe they made adjustments at halftime. A lot of people wanted to defend them, be like, yeah, they did a much better job in the second half. You should give them credit for it. It's like,
maybe.
It is, it was embarrassing.
Yeah, agreed.
But again, like, I wasn't surprised. I thought it'd be close, so I thought it could go either way. But to lose the way they did was stupid. So let's get into what are your feelings now about Vance Joseph, because they change every week for Broncos.
This is the thing. So you win 3 games in a row, and you go from he's absolutely gone, like we might just fire him any week now, to, well, now you have to think about extending him for another year. Or not extending him, but just keeping him for another year.
Just honoring the contract.
Right. And now that he's lost again, and the team is 6-7, and they're not out of the playoffs, but the playoffs, the likelihood of going to the playoffs drops significantly after losing on the road to San Francisco.
Yeah, they're not in control.
Now everybody's back to fire Vance Joseph again. And the only thing I see that I understand is, like, it's the nature of the loss, because to fire a guy who could finish the season after starting 3-6, like 9-7, which is still a possibility, that seems pretty ridiculous. But the fact that they lost the way that they did, falling behind 20-0 to a team that was 2-10 at the time on their 3rd string quarterback, and roughly no wide receivers that we've ever heard of, giving up 210 yards to the only offensive threat in the game in the first half. Like, it's just the way that they lost.
It's mind-boggling to me
really
how they
gets to you.
Didn't account for George Kittle. Like, it's just it blows my mind that was an oversight. And I say that with a young guy back there in Isaac Yiadom and Langley maybe being your 3rd corner out there, or who, like, I get it. They're in a bad situation without Chris Harris, and they're in a bad situation without Emmanuel Sanders. So part of me sympathizes with them for that. The patchwork O-line kind of got exploited by a pretty talented 49ers defensive line.
Yep.
Like, I get that, but really I don't think Vance Joseph is on his way to being a good head coach for the Denver Broncos. I don't think Case Keenum's on his way to being a quarterback who can carry a team. And if
That was
those
yeah. That was the thing that stuck out to me. Seeing the game in person is just like Case Keenum, when there's any sign of pressure, like he's just bailing out of the play, and he's gonna he shortens the field significantly. Like he's got one free rusher on one side, and he'll just like roll out to the nearest sideline and make it so all he can throw to is one receiver that's usually headed out of bounds, and it either turns into like a sack or just an incompletion or a sideline catch that gets ruled incompletion that they don't challenge.
Right. And
not to pick out any one play.
That's another thing that you could criticize Vance Joseph and the coach, the whole coaching staff. Like it feels like they didn't address the fact that they had challenge issues earlier in the season.
Right.
But then like what you're discussing with Case Keenum, you're seeing the deficiency of having a quarterback who doesn't have that elite athletic skill set to play the position, right? And that's why people get enamored with the guy who can throw the ball anywhere, because when you watch a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who does get pressured quite a bit in Kansas City, roll out, like every passing option is still open to him. When Aaron Rodgers rolls out, every passing option is still open because they can throw the ball anywhere on the field. And Case Keenum just doesn't have that kind of arm talent, nor do I think he really has the competence right now to take some of those risks. And the coaches want him to take those risks, but if you're not the guy who can make those throws, you're probably better off playing the way Case Keenum's playing right now.
Yeah, well, I understand where Keenum's coming from, because for the first half of the season, everybody's Case Keenum needs to stop throwing interceptions, and that's priority number one. And he's done that. But the thing about when you stop throwing interceptions and you're consciously trying to avoid turnovers is you're not going to take chances. And now he's not taking any chances, and people are saying, well, he's got to take some chances down the field. Well, you're going to throw interceptions, especially when you're missing Emmanuel Sanders and you're on the fourth version of the offensive line that you started with.
Right.
And you can't run the ball on the road. Well,
and that's really what the key was that worked with the Broncos being able to run the ball. And, at some point you knew a team was going to stop them in the run game. Did I think San Francisco was going to do it as effectively as they did? No. I thought it would be challenging, but they don't have a great set of middle linebackers there. And I thought, Philip Lindsay was going to bust a couple plays, but it didn't happen. They had a better game plan for it. And it felt like, really, I think what sticks out to Broncos fans is it just felt like the Broncos coaching staff got out-coached.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, one thing that stuck out to me on the game is and this isn't speak to any of their coaching abilities, it's just Kyle Shanahan looks like a head coach, because you can always see him. And he's always kind of wandering onto the field, and he's a few feet ahead of the rest of his coaching staff. And Vance Joseph just blends in with everybody else. Yeah, and it doesn't feel like he does anything. Kyle Shanahan just always got that play sheet in his hands, and he's always talking to somebody over the headset. And Vance Joseph just kind of has his arms crossed, and you're not sure exactly what he does around here.
No, I think, and I think that's why I'm kind of excited that John DeFilippo got fired, because I feel like he's that kind of guy, whether he's a good head coach or not, whether or not what's happening in Minnesota with their offense is his fault. He feels like the kind of guy who's going to be looking at that fucking play sheet and feel like he's smarter than you. You don't feel like Vance Joseph is smarter than you, and that's a problem. You want the guy who's oh, that guy knows that algebra shit, and he puts it onto football plays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, somebody I was sitting next to brought up during the games, you ever feel like you have a tactical advantage with your coaching staff? And I was no, I feel the opposite every single week.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to call their game plan. It's going to be a moderate game plan. And as long as the players execute perfectly, they have a very good chance to win.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they coach to player strengths very well. I think that's something you need to do. I guess you could question that with a guy Filippo in Minnesota. They have this great running back in Dalvin Cook, and they never hand off the ball type thing. So I don't know.
Right.
But it's their season's basically done. There's technically hope, but I've mostly accepted that their season is done. And
you'd almost wish like they're like mathematically eliminated at this point because it feels like it, and you don't want to like get your hopes up after a win.
Yeah. But I mean, we still get to root for Bradley Chubb in the sack record. That's basically all we have left. Important.
Yeah, no. It looked like before this game, like it looked like there's an outside chance, and now the fact that he got 2 sacks against San Francisco means that there's a pretty good chance that it's going to happen because he's 3 away because Javon Curse was at 14.5 his rookie year in Tennessee, and Chubb's at 12 right now. So 2.5, he ties it. 3, he just gets it. So, and you look at the offensive lines he's playing. Cleveland's fine. They're not a great offensive line, nor they're a terrible offensive line. Baker Mayfield probably makes them look better than they are. Got a chance to get one there. The Raiders, you've always got a chance to get one there. And then the Chargers, tough, but Phillip Rivers always like – just the fact that he's the least mobile quarterback of all time always gives you a chance to have a couple of sacks, as Von Miller has shown throughout his entire career, basically.
Yeah. No, he's the most sacked QB by Miller, right?
Yeah.
By far. So, I think he can get it. I hope he gets 2 sacks against Baker. Although Baker Mayfield, the Browns went 3 straight games without giving up a sack, which I think was feels like the longest streak for the Browns in 30 some shit. He did get sacked once last week. He's a mobile guy. He's going to try to extend plays. So I think there is an opportunity. Even say the Browns line's playing well. I don't know if Baker's going to have to extend plays with the Broncos secondary, but there's a chance there for it. But you've constructed a game –
yes,
for us to test because the Broncos worked out a ton of players, right? That we don't know.
Yeah. So they brought in 15 players to work out because that's what bad teams do. Is this
did Peterman work out? Is this when?
No. Okay. You wouldn't have recognized any of the names on this list. I definitely didn't. But so what I'm going to do, I've got 10 names, and we're going to see out of 10 because I mixed these names up with some of them are players that worked out for the Broncos. And the other half are NBA players.
Okay.
So we're going to see out of 10 how many you can guess correctly, whether they're free agents in the NFL or active NBA players.
All right.
Got 10 names for you. The first one, Winston Craig. This is going to be tough.
That sounds like a guy the Broncos worked out.
Correct.
Yes.
1 for 1.
Yeah.
Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
Ooh. Another guy the Broncos worked out.
Wrong.
Damn it. Who does he play for?
That's a power forward for the Brooklyn Nets. Okay. Greer Martini.
That's a good name.
That's an alcoholic drink.
Something
you order at a bar.
NBA.
Nope. Free agent.
Damn it.
Robert Covington.
NBA.
Yes. Did you know him?
Nope.
Okay. Forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shelvin Mack.
Player they worked out.
Nope.
Damn it.
Guard for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Shelvin. Yeah. That doesn't
sound. It's a football name, isn't it? Shelvin Mack.
Selvin Young, Shelvin Mack. You know, maybe I was just.
That I designed this game to be tough on you. Henry Mondo.
NBA.
Nope.
Damn it. Mondo sounds like a tall guy.
Yeah. Well, it's got like Mondo Burger from the great film Good Burger.
Yeah. Like Matumbo. Mondo.
Yeah. It's like the French spelling, though. Like it's Mondeaux.
Oh, yeah. I
So,
definitely would not
yeah.
have pronounced that guy's name Mondo.
He probably went to LSU.
I'd be like, Mondox?
Hot dogs.
Yeah, literally.
Christian Lacouture.
Basketball.
Nope.
Damn it!
He sounds like a hockey player, first of all.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. Marvin Bagley.
Oh, God. Sounds like a basketball player from the 70s. I'll say NBA.
Yeah, he's a rookie power forward for the Kings.
Oh, Bagley, huh?
That's right. You got that one. Trevon Mathis.
They worked him out.
Correct.
Yeah, if you say it with confidence, it's you got a better chance of getting it.
That's true. Atwan Moore.
Basketball.
Yeah.
He's
small
forward for the
for what team?
For the Raptors.
No, for the New Orleans Pelicans.
Yeah.
All right, so let's count this up.
North.
Okay, you got 5 out of 10.
50-50, like flipping a coin.
Perfectly mediocre.
Wow.
So good job.
Yeah, I definitely don't know NBA players or any of the guys the Broncos worked out.
That's what we've learned from this segment.
That's what we learned.
But we should talk about the game that's coming up on Saturday night. It's a fairly big one, if not for the Broncos anymore, then for the Browns.
Browns got to win.
Yeah, the Browns, it feels like the biggest game in Cleveland not in Cleveland, but for Cleveland in I don't know, since 2007.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been in a position to even think about the playoffs this late in the season. And they just beat Carolina. So, and I know right. The Panthers are on a giant losing streak.
Yeah.
But they're still a decent football team.
No, it's still a quality win.
So with the Browns playing the Broncos reeling from a loss, it just smells like a game that the Browns are going to win. They have guys, against Carolina, Baker Mayfield had a 66-yard pass to Callaway? I'm not sure if that was Callaway or not.
Yeah, he had a long one to Jarvis Landry that was in between 3 defenders.
Another long one to Jarvis Landry, and they're doing that stupid jet sweep play to Jarvis Landry, and he had a ton of rushing yards in that game. They have a pretty good defensive front too. They can get after the quarterback. I don't think it's going to be easy for Case Keenum.
I worry about Garrett Bowles trying to block Myles Garrett because I think he comes from the right side typically.
Yeah, hard to say.
I'd have some concerns no matter what direction he comes from, but against Garrett Bowles, little troublesome.
Yeah, the Browns they've won 3 of the last 4. And not like the competition's been great. The good team they played with the Texans, and the Texans kicked their ass 29-13. But they beat the Falcons, the Bengals, and the Panthers. And they beat the Bengals the way the Broncos should have beat the Bengals handily.
Correct.
And now Hugh Jackson has the Bengals in last place. So
it's really an achievement to have 2 teams in last place.
Yeah,
in the same season, the same division.
It obviously, that's not his fault, but it's just funny. And maybe, I don't know, but
they haven't won since he got there.
It's, but Andy Dalton's gone, and the Bengals put up a fight against the Chargers.
Yeah, they did.
Jeff Driscoll almost beat the Chargers.
They were giving the Chargers a little too much credit. Ever think about that?
Yeah, the Chargers got lucky against the Steelers.
They sure did.
The Chargers are going to be tested tomorrow night. We're going to figure them out tomorrow night.
Yes, I think so.
But in addition to Baker Mayfield playing better, like Greg Williams being smart enough to like just let Baker Mayfield do his thing as a quarterback and not trying to restrain him, I think has been a huge help to the Browns. And also they have a good rookie running back in Nick Chubb. So it is, I don't know, it just smells like a recipe for disaster for the Broncos because they lost to San Francisco. Had they beat San Francisco, I'd be a little more optimistic about it, but I don't know if there is a fight left in the team. And I'm saying that knowing like this is a team who has fought every single week, every game they played in. Like that's been like the silver lining is like, well, at least they don't fucking give up and they make every game a competition.
Yeah, and they didn't give up against the 49ers.
No, they didn't.
The one good thing you can say about that game.
But I don't know. I just think the Browns are going to win is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm picking the Broncos just because I just can't fathom seeing them lose in person.
Two times in a row.
Twice. Yeah. Twice in the span of 7 days. But an interesting stat about the Browns since Greg Williams took over, who's known as a defensive guy. Hugh Jackson was an offensive-minded coach, as we all know. But since they made the switch, they're averaging 6.9 yards per play, which is first in the NFL. And they're 14 for 14 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Isn't that wild?
That's pretty impressive.
We joked about the Browns for a full year before this, and they're I don't want to say they're making us look stupid, but they're making us look a little bit stupid.
I guess what's interesting is I'm trying to look at their defense right now. It looks like their defense has went to shit because I thought their defense was decent, but they're giving up right now second worst 411 yards per game. So
that's kind of what happens when you have a better scoring offense, though.
Yeah, but they've got talent on that defense.
A lot of it, yeah.
What kind of rushing yards are they giving up per game? I'm seeing, they're fifth worst. They're giving up 133 rushing yards per game. 17 rushing touchdowns. So if the Broncos do win, I think it's going to be because Philip Lindsay's going to be able to run the ball again. I mean, you could have said that anyway. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter who the fuck they play. You can say that. But Cleveland looks like they might be susceptible to giving up a big day to Philip Lindsay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, who, after what Saquon Barkley did last week, is probably definitely not
he's out of the running.
The year award we so desperately wanted.
No, we're putting everything in our we're putting all of our faith in Bradley Chubb at this point. Not to say that Lindsey hasn't had a great season, but he's just not going to have any sort of chance now because even if the stats were perfectly similar, Saquon Barkley would have had the edge. On the basis of being Saquon Barkley, first and foremost. But yeah, I feel like the game plan to win this game is this time you have to get ahead first. And the Broncos haven't done that in what feels like forever. But if you get ahead first and you make Baker Mayfield throw every time and you take Nick Chubb out of the game to some extent, then I think you're going to have a pretty good advantage. And you're not dropping back and throwing the ball every time against a guy like Myles Garrett and letting someone like Denzel Ward try to make a play on the ball like they were basically against the 49ers is because they became so predictable in the second half that the defensive line and the outside linebackers could tee off just about every play, and that made it, extra hard for Case Keenum if it wasn't hard enough already. So they just need to get off to a better start than they have in the last, even since they started winning. Yeah. A month ago, they need to get off to a better start. And, I don't know if you saw this tweet. There's this thing that Ben Albright tweeted. And he always has some good, observations about the Broncos. But he said something about Vance Joseph said, 5 or 6 weeks ago, that the Broncos needed to get off to better starts and it turned out like they're top 10 in scoring in the first quarter. And since he said that, they've scored like 3 points in the first quarter. It just feels like I don't know. You gotta have better awareness of what's actually happening to your team.
Yeah, I mean, you can say we got to get off to a better start, but they
that's not the problem.
if it's not, and that's hard to put on the coaches because I feel like early in games is when you see Keenum at his most inaccurate. I don't know. I feel like I've seen a few games where they start and it just looks like a shitty throw or a guy drops a pass. I saw a stat today. I think Broncos are in the top 10 for most drops or drop percentage this season. So
yeah, they have had a lot. Cortland Sutton seems to have like a couple every week.
Yeah, so that will if that happens early, which I feel like is when it does, that's gonna kill all of that shit. So.
Yeah, you know what I want to do is I don't want to hire Mike Shanahan again to be the coach full time. So I don't think it would work out in the long term. But I just want to hire him like as a consultant, strictly to do that thing where he scripts like the first 10 plays on offense.
Oh, there you go.
And then after that, he just doesn't do anything and he just watches the game. But he just has like that one job every week. Because it felt like the Broncos always scored on their first drive when Mike Shanahan was the coach. And the 49ers seem to do the same thing because they did against the Broncos on Sunday. And Kyle Shanahan's definitely taken the advice from his old man. But yeah, I want to get Mike Shanahan back in just that capacity.
I think that's smart, innovative. They should.
Yes.
You should have what's that guy's name? Matt Russell's job. You should have Matt Russell's job.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this information to the Broncos.
There we go.
Unless they're listening right now, which they might be.
Okay, and I know we've touched on some NFL stuff, but we will transition to NFL talking. And we'll start with the guy we've already talked about.
Yep.
John DeFilippo. Do you think he'd be all I want to ask you, do you think he'd be a good head coach for the Broncos? And depending on how you answer that, where do you see him actually being able to go? And is it still a head coach, or is he just going to be coming in somewhere as an OC?
What do you mean? Is still head coach?
I mean, considered for a head coach.
Nah, I don't think you can get considered as a head coach at like the year after you get fired. I'm not to say he won't ever be a head coach because he's 40 years old right now and he's got plenty of time. But I think you just have to take an offensive coordinator job at the very best right now. Like you could even like the year after you get fired, like a lot of guys just like drop down and become like wide receiver or like quarterbacks coach for a year and then work their way back up. So it's humiliating to get fired in the middle of the season because like it's always a big news story and like you never get worked in like on the Black Monday where everybody's getting fired, so people kind of forget.
Right.
So that's tough for him.
So many coaches get fired. It's like Black Monday is really losing its power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, really. Like everybody gets fired in the middle of the season now.
Yeah, and like my wife Jess always like brings up Black Monday. Like she remembers it from like 2013. She watched every Broncos game with me. She learned a lot about football, and I explained to her like, oh yeah, I should make a video for Black Monday, and she was like, what is that? I'm like, that's when all the fucking coaches get fired. And every year, like, she brings it up, like she's brought it up like 2 or 3 times this season. She's like, oh, that guy, is he going to be part of Black Monday? it's like, how is that the one thing that really just stuck with you?
I think it's like, I'm going to explain this because I think she associates it with A, Black Friday, and B, Red Wedding from Game of Thrones.
Oh.
It just feels like something that would be a part of Game of Thrones.
That makes sense. That makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, I feel like Philadelphia would be a place he should go back to. They have struggled since losing him and Frank Reich.
Right.
Or I guess maybe even Indianapolis. I don't know. Like, you think about relationships and you know how important those are in the NFL, but.
Yeah, I'd like to see him get a chance. Like, I think Indianapolis is a great idea. especially because they have a lot of cap space and they could go out and sign Le'Veon Bell, for example, and that would be a really nice offense to work with.
Yeah, and they're already throwing 100 fucking times a game anyway.
Yeah,
and like
really.
his criticism is, like I mentioned earlier, wasn't running the ball enough with Dalvin. The Colts they don't care.
And if you get Le'Veon Bell too, like you can just throw the ball to him instead of handing it off. It's the same thing basically.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see him to go to Arizona and make something out of Josh Rosen and Christian Kirk and those guys.
Oh, you're saying he's got to earn his stripes and prove
that. Yeah.
Because, okay, that's fair. If you want to actually evaluate him as a head coach, I think that's brilliant. Because if he goes to Indianapolis, like being Andrew Luck, I could be Andrew Luck's offensive coordinator.
Yeah, just drop back and, try not to get sacked. But if you do, make sure you compliment the guy on his hit. And just throw the ball either far to T.Y. Hilton or really high to Eric Ebron.
Yeah. One of them will score a touchdown.
Yes. Or actually, no. Your offensive playbook would just – every play would be Mo Alley Cox. Just want Mo Cox. We're going to jam Mo Cox down their throats.
All day long. Yeah. They're going to eat Mo Cox for lunch.
You're going to be wishing there were a lot less Cox around here.
Do you think Eric Ebron playing so well in Indianapolis is an indictment on Matthew Stafford?
Yes. Yeah, I'm not a big Stafford fan.
See, I've always liked Stafford, and
he just like he's the quintessential can't get over the hump guy, and he never will, in my opinion.
He can't. I mean, I think it speaks. It might. You could argue that maybe Calvin Johnson's the greatest receiver to ever play the game.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Same way with like Barry Sanders, and they were both wasted in Detroit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Feels like I still think like Calvin Johnson might come back at any time. It's wild because I was thinking about this like a few weeks ago, but Calvin Johnson, like since he retired, like I don't think he's ever appeared like on a TV show or like done like any sort of press booking or anything. Like he's just been completely out of the public eye. And he was he's a top 5 wide receiver of all time.
Yeah, that concerns me actually, Will.
Oh, why is that?
Okay. A guy that good, a guy, one who retires in his prime is always kind of weird. And now you bring up a point. He doesn't want to be in the public eye, doesn't want any attention. Maybe he's the kind of guy who's got a dungeon in his basement with a bunch of dead bodies in it. I'm not talking skeletons in your closet. Metaphorically, maybe he's a serial killer.
Okay. I was going to say, like, maybe he's working with Michael Bay on, like, the next Transformers movie.
Why wouldn't you want publicity if you're doing that?
I don't know. He was never someone that
murderer,
wanted publicity while he was playing.
Drug seller. Maybe he's a mule like Clint Eastwood is. Or insider trading.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Hendricks taught us anything.
Yeah. That was wild that he was on the Browns.
You're looking forward to the mule?
Yeah, a little bit.
Did you watch Eastwood's last movie, the train one?
Oh no, because like both of those guys are from like right around where I live, and I was like, oh, they're playing themselves in this movie. This that's a nice gesture, but this can't turn out well.
No, it turned out horrible, man. It is bad. And Jess and I watched that one night, and we were like, dialogue is terrible. The acting's really bad.
I've never heard of these guys.
No, and then I looked it up. I was like, oh, shit, those are the real guys. And this turned out to be a terrible, terrible mistake because it's hard. Like, they did this incredible thing, and you can't be mean to them.
Nope.
You don't want to, like, dump on this artistic interpretation of this real shit they went through. But then, like, as a movie – you're just like, oh man, and even like just watch it just for the writing alone because they wrote it too, and it's like,
oh, did they really?
The conversation is because the guy wrote a book.
Yeah,
I don't know who helped him turn it into a movie, but Some of the most pointless dialogue I've ever seen in my life.
And Clint Eastwood, I love him as a director. Like Unforgiven's one of my favorite movies ever. But he's not he's not someone that's going to get the best performance out of his actors because he usually just does one take.
Yeah, he's the one. He's the one.
It's
take.
like one, rarely two takes, and then he's like, "All right, we're moving on," and then that's it. Like he doesn't really give them notes or anything. He just kind of lets people. And like if you have like Tom Hanks in the leading role, then that's going to turn out well. But if you have two guys that haven't acted, you're probably in trouble.
Yeah. And like I'm not even sure if Clint Eastwood's a good actor. Like I enjoy him in movies, but I think he's just fucking Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, no, he is. Maybe the most Clint Eastwoody film ever, Gran Torino. It just feels like a day in the life of Clint Eastwood.
No, that movie, I was thoroughly entertained by that movie.
Oh, that's a great movie. Yeah, no. Also, the mayor of Carmel, California, for a period of time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Wears a lot of hats.
Yes, he does. Play Misty for me.
Do it. Where were we?
We already talked about the Raiders moving. So they don't have a stadium leased for 2019.
Right.
And they sure as shit ain't getting one in Oakland right now.
Could talk to Mr. Eastwood, try to play in Carmel. It's a very nice place to live.
Very nice. So options, maybe UNLV.
That stadium, yeah. I mean, UNLV, the one thing is it's just not it's not built to hold an NFL event. It's a very small stadium by college standards even. So they were talking about that. Like they're kicking that around like right when they decided to move. And even then they were saying like, no, this can't happen.
Will the Chargers will the Rams and Chargers Stadium be finished?
No.
Next season? No,
I think that's the year after, so that's off the table too.
Because I guess it would have made sense to let the Raiders play like at the Coliseum, or is that the Rose Bowl?
Right.
What stadium is it?
No, they put it at the Coliseum where USC plays.
Okay, yeah. That would have made sense. Especially since there's probably a big Raiders fan base in Los Angeles. Yeah,
well, you know what? What would actually make sense and what they should probably do is because there's a lot of Raiders fans in LA and there's a lot of Raiders fans in Mexico. So you see where I'm going with this.
Oh, what's Mexico City?
No. What's in between LA and Mexico?
San Diego.
Exactly. So they play at Qualcomm.
Qualcomm. No, they should be the Mexico City home team, man. That is perfect.
Try moving a team out of Mexico City and see how that works.
They're already adapted to playing on shitty field conditions.
Your head's going to end up in a duffel bag if you try to move that team.
I've heard it's better there now, Will.
Sure. I'm sure it is.
I don't leave my house. What would I know about traveling to different countries?
Fair enough.
I barely travel to different grocery stores.
Where do you think they if you could put the Raiders anywhere for a season? Not like you're in charge of the Raiders, like you're still a Broncos fan. Like where would you place them on the globe to play for a full season?
Oh, like to try to solve this problem?
Yeah, or make things worse, depending on how you feel.
Oregon. The Duck Stadium.
Okay. That's one option. I was going for more like Baghdad.
Wow. Anywhere on earth, huh?
Yeah, I just want to, place them somewhere in the Middle East for a year.
That seems mean-spirited.
Yeah, a little bit. Probably impractical for travel reasons, but put the Patriots there too.
Where does UCLA's football team play?
The Rose Bowl.
So USC and UCLA both play there?
No. USC plays at the LA Coliseum.
Oh, and that's the Rams play at the Coliseum,
UCLA
right?
plays at the Rose Bowl. Yeah.
So then I would put the Raiders at the fucking Rose Bowl then. That makes sense.
Maybe the Rose Bowl doesn't want a bunch of Raiders fans hanging out there every Sunday.
Maybe.
It's not it's a tough team to impose to another city and another team.
Yeah, but I mean,
you have the Violator
when USC
every Sunday.
when UCLA realizes how much money they would make by doing that, I think they would get on board.
Yeah, because God forbid the UCs don't have enough money already.
They don't, Will.
Guess what? They sure don't.
And Brandon Marshall, released by the Saints.
Yeah, this was very sad for me. Because
0 plays, 0 yards, 0 playoffs.
Unfortunate. He was kind of the guy that was supposed to come in and take over for Des Bryant after he got hurt after like 2 practices. So they didn't really put him on the field because they didn't really need to, because it turns out like Drew Brees can just make anybody better.
Yeah.
But like you wanted to see Brandon Marshall, like even if he's not playing, like just be on the roster for a playoff team, because he was drafted in 2006. And 2006, I think, is like still the closest he's been to the playoffs, because they lost that overtime game at the end of the season to the 49ers. Funny how things change and stay the same. But
I was at that game.
Oh, were you really?
Yeah, that was the night Darren Williams got shot.
Yeah, that was New Year's Eve. Yeah, and they lose on the field goal that if they had won that in overtime, they would have gone on to the playoffs in Jay Cutler's first season. But they missed then. They go 7-9, 8-8, 8-8 again. Then they trade Brandon Marshall, plays for the Dolphins, plays for the Bears, misses like that 1 year in 2010 when the Bears make the playoffs. And then just like bounces around after that to the Jets. He's a game away from the playoffs. They went 10-6, still didn't make it. See, where did he go after that? The Giants just got hurt, and like the Giants like was a year late to the playoffs because they made the playoffs the year before they signed him. Then he was at Seattle to start the season, and they have a 99% chance of going to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's fucking
they
weird.
cut him.
and
the Saints again too.
We only watched one game, I guess, really with him. But when the Broncos and Seahawks played week 1, he caught a touchdown pass. He looked like a guy you could use as a third receiver on half of the fucking teams in the league. So it is weird that the Saints didn't get him on the field. I feel like there's got to be something going on with him physically or something where they don't trust him. Or I mean, learning. I think it would be hard to jump into the Saints offense no matter who you are.
Yeah, probably. I would imagine that it's like so complicated after Peyton and Breeze being there for the last 13 years. No,
that they talked about, like they looked at what their plays were in their first season together, or their Super Bowl run together versus what it is now, and they said it's like so much more complicated and complex. They're like, how did we even run an offense this simple back then? So like you have you have a QB and a coach relationship like that, and I think just trying to jump in there is probably really tough. Still surprised though they didn't even put him on the field. You know what I mean? Just like have him run a few simple routes, and if he gets open, throw him the ball, because I feel like he's still going to get the jump ball over almost any cornerback in the NFL. But
right, and like Breeze is throwing to guys like Austin Carr and Tommy Lee Lewis and Traquan Smith. I think that's his name.
All guys who worked out for the Broncos this week. Yeah,
or possibly NBA players.
Right.
And you feel like, well, you could use Brandon Marshall in the red zone at least, right?
Yeah, no shit.
I don't know, man. Who are we to question what the Saints do? They're still pretty good.
There's a chance the Patriots will pick him up, you know?
In that case, I'd just retire like Eric Decker.
Smart man.
Yeah.
He couldn't figure out their offense.
Hops on with the Browns. They win 3 games in a row. Straight to the Super Bowl.
There it is. All right, let's pick through these games at a very fast pace. Except for this first one.
Okay.
Because this is a big game, Will.
Chargers at the Chiefs.
Chargers at the Chiefs. Final Thursday night game of the season.
Both really? I guess so.
Both teams need a big win. Because after this, the Chargers play the Ravens and the Chiefs play the Seahawks. So I think this is a really big game for both teams and all the stupid playoff seedings. The thing that pisses me off the most is the Patriots lose, and then so do the Steelers, so do the Texans. Everybody who could have possibly jumped ahead of them, put the pressure on them, fucks up. Who do you think is going to win this game?
I'm going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chiefs because they are at home, which is obviously a big advantage on Thursday nights. Arrowhead, also a really tough place to play. And
haven't the Chargers lost 9 in a row to the Chiefs too?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I think Rivers was talking about that earlier this week.
That makes me think they're actually going to win this game then. Man,
the Chiefs have just when was the last time they lost a divisional game?
Ooh, been a while.
It has to be because the Broncos haven't beaten them since week 2, 2015.
I'm guessing
it must have been the Raiders last year in that Thursday night game.
The Raiders did it.
Yeah, of course.
They're turning it. I mean, the Broncos did the same thing to the AFC West when Peyton Manning was here. So
yeah, pretty much
payback. I'm excited to watch this game, though.
Yeah, I hope I'll be able to watch this. I don't know if my grandparents' house even gets Fox. That might be out of their out of their channel range.
Do they have wireless? Because you should be able to watch it on Amazon or one of those. It's like 5 different places.
No, I'll be able to. Well, it's a different question of whether I'll be physically able to versus
whether your family will.
Yeah, ethically, if it's the right thing to do.
Right. See you later. I'm going to watch this game in the other room. Don't bother me.
Yeah, this could be the last time you see your grandparents. You sure you want to spend this time watching the Chargers at the Chiefs?
Yeah.
It's my job.
It's the last time they're going to play this season.
Yeah. You ever think about that?
Okay. I just put up a video about this on my channel.
Check it out.
Depth on it. And now we can do the rest of these games very fast.
Texans at Jets.
Texans, please.
Yeah, I'll take the Texans as well. Cardinals at Falcons. Race for the number 1 pick.
Falcons.
But also possibly the playoffs for the Falcons.
Falcons got a playoff chance. The smallest. That has to be the smallest of all the teams. But Falcons.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons as well. Buccaneers at Ravens. Joe Flacco is the backup this week, officially active and officially backing up Lamar Jackson, who lost for the first time.
Lost his job to Jackson. I'm going to take the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
I feel like the Ravens defense is going to prove yet again, which we say quite a bit, that Jameis Winston isn't that good, even though he looked very good last week.
That's what he does, is like he's always good enough just to like hang on for another year, which is worse than just being terrible.
He's got the highest out-of-pocket passer rating right now.
Whatever. Lions at Bills.
Lions still in it.
Are they really?
Yeah. They still have a mathematical – I mean, if the Falcons do, then the Lions definitely do because they have one more win than the Falcons.
I mean, mathematically, if we're just going to talk about like what's mathematically possible, both of us could spontaneously combust right now.
Right. Oh, dude, but I'm taking the Lions here because this is what Matt Patricia's been waiting for all season long.
Playing outdoors.
Game outside in Buffalo.
This is the week where he has them like inside, air conditioned, or the heat's cranked up to like 80.
He practices at 100 degrees. Yeah.
We're gonna simulate the temperature in the 7th circle of hell for this game.
But it's gonna work.
Yeah, I think it will work. No, yes, no. I'm taking the Bills.
Yeah, that's who I was gonna take, but then I thought about practicing outdoors.
Yeah. At what point does Josh Allen beat O.J. Simpson's rushing record for the Bills?
Next season.
Is he on pace? Okay.
Next season he can do it
because it can't be long.
They'll know he's so good at running. So they didn't know that this year.
Packers at Bears.
Bears coming off a big win. So I'll take the Bears. I watched that Packers-Falcons, and Aaron Rodgers finally got help. But I just don't think the Packers are – I still don't think they're a good team. So, Chicago.
I'm going to take the Packers.
Ooh. Oh, how did we do on our picks last week? I feel like I did really bad.
No, you're 9-7.
Oh.
I was 6-10.
Oh.
Yeah. Tough year.
Do you still have an overall lead on me? Have we not calculated that?
I gotta calculate them again.
Okay, we'll debut that next week since we're trying to get the fuck out of here.
You don't want to see me do math.
Nope.
Live. That's not good podcasting.
I really want to talk to you live.
I agree. Raiders at Bengals.
What a shit show this is gonna be.
Just don't play this game.
I'm gonna take
Jackson's revenge against the team that fired him. No, not the Browns. The other team that fired him. The Raiders.
The Raiders have played better the last. I'll take the Raiders, I guess.
I'll take the Bengals. Got to win eventually, right? I mean, they don't have to, but
no.
Cowboys at Colts.
Ooh,
horsiest game of the week.
Yeah, this is a good game too. Cowboys been playing that football, and I think the Colts are going to be the team that helps everybody across America shit on the Cowboys again. Go Colts.
Yeah, I'm taking the Colts too. I predicted that the Cowboys would lose last week to the Eagles after that big Saints win.
They should have.
They should have because I'm always right. But the forces of nature were conspiring against me, especially on that Amari Cooper touchdown. And I think fortune will catch up to them this week.
I agree. And I like
and not only fortune, but luck. Andrew Luck.
Nailed it.
Terrible. Moving on. Redskins at Jaguars.
Jaguars at home.
This is going to be, what, Josh Johnson versus Cody Kessler?
The QB battle of the century. Yeah,
this is the game we've all been waiting
for. Man.
Oh, jeez. I don't know who to take. I think I'll take the Jaguars just because this could be another 6-0 game for them.
Yeah.
Take them.
This game suddenly got interesting.
Dolphins at Vikings. Yeah. It feels like I don't think these two teams have ever played before. But the Dolphins suddenly, after that win, I will say the worst part about going to that game in San Francisco, not seeing the Broncos lose, it was not being able to see that Patriot loss live.
Yeah, man. I turned back to that because I was live streaming during the game, and I turned back to it, thankfully, and watched it. I was like, Dolphins got 7 seconds left. Probably not going to do shit here. And then it all changed, man. It all changed. The Vikings lose. The Vikings are a better team than the Dolphins. The Patriots were a better team than the Dolphins. But I would be doing the Dolphins a disservice if I didn't pick them to win this game. Even though I think that they probably won't, I am picking the fucking Dolphins because I owe them that. I owe them that.
Yeah, you know what? I would love to pick them. This just feels like a very Dolphins game to lose, though.
Okay.
Titans at Giants.
Ugh. Giants are playing better ball lately.
Yeah, they could make the playoffs too.
Their offense is starting to click the way we thought it would. Saquon Barkley he's insane. Did you see that clip of him basically telling his offensive line how to block? And then the next time he was in the game, he busted out that 75-yard touchdown run.
Was he just telling them to start blocking?
Yeah, he's like, just block me a hole and I'll get through it.
So you see those big guys over there? Move them out of the way.
Yeah, he was just
run in between you.
Yeah, he was just telling them. He was like, look, if you do this, keep doing it this way, I can hit the seam like this or some shit. And then cut to him busting out a 75-yard touchdown or 70-yard, I don't know. But
Very impressive.
Man, the Titan, like, I don't know the Titans at all. One week, I think they're possibly the best team in the NFL. The other week, I think they're not deserving in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're coming off of destroying Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So they're going to struggle against the Giants. Giants, I guess.
I'm going to take Tennessee.
I want Tennessee because I think
feels like a coin flip, though.
They make the playoff push interesting, but yeah, I'll go Giants.
Seahawks at 49ers. This used to be a great game. Now it's a terrible one. I'm going to take the Seahawks.
Seattle. I agree. Oh, yeah. Here's an interesting game.
Patriots at Steelers. Rematch of a game that the Steelers should have won a year ago.
Yeah.
I think it was like a year ago, almost to the week, where Jesse James' touchdown catch to win it got reversed, which is awesome.
One of my biggest videos last year was how to fix the catch rule. So Steelers are desperate, man. They are in a desperate situation, and I actually like that for Pittsburgh. I feel like if the only thing on the line here was playoff seeding, that the Steelers would definitely lose. And I still feel like they're going to lose, but I'm going to pick them to win just because I hate the Patriots so much.
You'll get no argument from me on that, but I don't think the Patriots are going to lose 2 weeks in a row, especially in the fashion that they lost last week. I think they'll probably win something like 60-0, something like that. Feels about right. Eagles at Rams.
That the Steelers won't win on the final play of the game.
Although it would be hilarious if they did.
Oh my God, dude! You never see the Patriots make that mistake. Like,
maybe you shouldn't have put in Rob Gronkowski, who's like his 3-cone drill at this point would probably be like 45 seconds. I don't know if you want him as the last line of defense against Kenny.
No, and not when you know Ryan Tannehill, who's been fucking hurt all year, is not going to throw a 70-yard Hail Mary. I love it, though. I love that a coaching decision and then a lack of execution, the two things that are always perfect for the Patriots, go wrong. And then you can go back to the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl. Like, well, maybe if Malcolm Butler was in the goddamn game, you would have had a better chance of winning. Another coaching decision, getting in those Patriots' heads. And also Tom Brady's not that great anymore.
Yeah, and it looked like he got hurt in the Dolphins game. Obviously, the Patriots will never disclose any type of injury on the injury report.
Everybody is questionable.
Yeah, everybody's questionable about everything. Bill Belichick is just the football agnostic. But, yeah, he threw 3 touchdowns before he got hurt in that Miami game and then didn't throw a touchdown after that. I don't know if that means anything. I'd like to believe it does, but I'm still taking the Patriots.
Okay.
Eagles at Rams.
Ooh, man.
Nick Foles is playing.
Yeah.
And Nick Foles will probably play the rest of the year.
Nick Foles is going to get the Eagles back to the Super Bowl.
That would be something.
That would be – the Rams are coming off getting their ass kicked by the Bears. I'm going to take the Rams. Did you see Sean McVay's press conference after that?
No, we're not talking about the one where he just named all the players on the team, which is somehow really impressive.
Oh, no. I'm talking about after that loss, all he did was just blame the entire loss on himself.
No.
Like, he was just – and he was, like, so positive and upbeat about it. I was like, fuck, no wonder coaches or players like playing for this guy. He's like, I put him in bad situations.
That's really easy to do when you lose your second game of the year.
Well, yeah, but it was I don't know. It was done in a way too, though, that felt it didn't feel contrived. You know what I mean? You know when a coach gets up there and is like, "We got to coach better," and you're just like, "Fuck you." You're just saying shit. It like felt like he really felt like he didn't do a good enough job coaching. Yeah. And I think that's probably what makes him a good coach.
I'll never look at Sean McVay and not think that he works in a Starbucks. Even with that voice.
No, his voice isn't as deep as I thought it should be.
Yeah, he's like, you want a grande iced vanilla latte? Can we get a name for that?
He would spell your name correctly.
Yeah. He just proceeds to name all the customers in line in front of you.
That's John. That's Terry. That's Bobby.
Yeah.
That's
he ran a 4.4 at the combine.
He gets 3 different types of drinks. Depends on which day of the week it is. Today's a Thursday.
Yeah.
That means he wants no sugar, extra frap in the cup.
Yeah.
What I don't know.
Someone comes up to return a drink. It's like, I asked for a venti, not a grande. It's like, I'm going to take responsibility for that. It's entirely on me. That
was on me, guys.
Don't blame my young quarterback. I'll go squarely on my shoulders.
Here, I'm taking the money out of the tip jar to pay for your drink. I don't deserve this money. And then the store closes and he just loses his mind and berates all of the guys that he manages.
Oh, I love benevolent Sean McVay, and then behind closed doors is just a horrible, abusive man. Like Will Ferrell in that one SNL sketch with Pierce Brosnan, where he's the really evil boss.
Oh, I don't know if I remember that one.
Is this too deep of a cut? I don't know. Someone will know what I'm talking about and appreciate that. Look it up if you haven't. But yeah, I've got the Rams.
Okay, we're both taking
the Rams. Last Monday night game of the year. Saints at Panthers.
Ooh. Is it? No, it's not the last Monday night. The Broncos played Monday night against the Raiders on Christmas Eve.
Fuck. Yeah, you're right.
Which also fucks up my whole life.
Yeah, that I don't want.
Bullshit.
Yeah, people have stuff to do on Christmas Eve. You can't have the Broncos.
I want to view a fucking video.
That's terrible. I want a game to be on in the background, but I don't want to have to care about it.
Yeah, exactly. Should be Titans and Cardinals or something, you know?
Yes. Well, I said I want it to be on. I wouldn't put that on in my house. Wouldn't disgrace my walls with that football spectacle.
Saints. Taking the Saints.
I'm taking the Saints as well. Panthers have lost 5 in a row. Might as well be 6. What's the difference? Speaking of Monday Night Football, do you think next week will be the last game with Jason Witten and Booger McFarland together?
I don't know.
It just feels like, I don't know. They got to do something. It's
ESPN, man. It's unpredictable. ESPN should have hired me, and they didn't. Look what happened.
Yeah. Every time you don't hire Brandon, something bad happens. Yep. Your president gets a coke problem. You hire Jason Witten too soon. All sorts of stuff.
All sorts of things.
ESPN Plus is a failure. It can all be traced back to not hiring Brandon.
Oh, yeah, we got to do another film review, you know?
Yes. Looking forward to those.
Probably after the season.
Yeah.
Things are going to get busy. Yeah. And then they're going to die down a little bit because we have less games to cover every week.
Then we're going to wish we had more to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Well, you made it through another podcast.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys for listening. I love it. So does Will.
Yeah, I love all of you.